I'm Vivian Lofness. I'm a professor of architecture at Carnegie Mellon University and a researcher and educator focused on sustainability and high performance buildings. I also serve on the board of the U.S. Green Building Council.
I'm Garth Rockcastle, Dean of the School of Architecture, Planning, and Preservation at the University of Maryland, and I'm a practicing architect in the firm Myers Sharon Rockcastle in Minnesota and in Maryland.
My name is Cara Johnson. I work at IDEO. IDEO is a design and innovation firm based in California.
My name is Martin Vachon. I'm Director of Technology, formerly Director of Technology and now Director of Marketing with Axim Italcementi Group, which is a cement company.
So I'm very interested in brick. I've actually photographed it and studied it as a time-based material. I actually love deteriorating brick buildings more than I do new ones. And I do a lot of adaptive reuse, so I've done work that has taken and given brick structures second and third lives. So I'm very interested in the material. I have a love for it. It carries a sense that people are involved in making things and that the things they make are worth remaking, which is a real deep affirmation of the sustainability agenda.
I was interested as a position in the jury because I found this contest so unique. Brick is one of the oldest, I guess, construction material, and just the idea of rethinking the way of using it with today's constraints and today's new preoccupation like sustainability was something very intriguing to me, and I was extremely excited to be part of this contest as a jury.
I think it's interesting just to consider the idea that you might need to inspire an industry, and I think that's the overall objective of the contest here, to inspire the brick industry, the clay masonry industry. And I also, of course, have a fondness and a love for materials, materiality, and the kind of pureness of what it means to start with material to build something new.
Well, architecture, as you can imagine, is very much a material-based profession, and a combination of masonry materials and glass and metals and woods are the basis of creating space. The value of masonry in many respects is that it's highly crafted, and it engages, it has a real valuable job base attached to it, as well as an artistry. And it also, in terms of sustainability, has some major contributions relative to solar storage, relative to longevity, general playfulness in form, things that you may not be able to get out of other materials.
Other than collecting the thermal mass.
Hi, David. Good morning.
We took longer to walk than we had thought. So.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Martin, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Cara.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Vivian Lofness.
Nice to meet you. I'm Martin Vachon.
This is a really important competition to us, and I think eventually to our industry. And I do want to thank you all for being jurors. That, you know, I think it's fantastic to get you all here, because I don't often get to the fourth floor of the National Building. In fact, this is a first, so this is great that we're up here.
Yeah, and thanks again for all of your time and for being here. Buildings are the result of thousands of decisions and thousands of products, and to try and get people to think about a particular material and what it really can contribute to a project was something that we thought would be really interesting vis-a-vis brick in particular. And we thought we would just set the bar high. We said, design a net zero building. So I don't know if anybody achieved net zero, but that was the goal, and so that we're challenging everybody to drive that down as much as possible.
If we all sit on that side.
Holy smokes, you didn't tell me you did that last night.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and hook one.
The jury went through all of the entries carefully to try to understand what the breadth of innovation and ideas and imagery that the various competitors were generating before we actually set down the criteria on which we were going to select the winners.
The submissions that we have reviewed today were extremely interesting in the sense that they were bringing forward some innovations that I would have not expected from a user or a designer dealing with bricks. The projects were dealing with various aspects of the masonry industry, from process in how to produce bricks in different ways, from production site, big production site, to produce mass production bricks, to on the other extreme of the spectrum, we had submittals where bricks were produced on site with very simple device. So that was extremely interesting to see that. We've seen also a different type of usage of bricks, different approach of using bricks that are very unique and that are going in the directions of better sustainability. That was extremely interesting to me.
I think I'm more interested in the technology category, the exploration of what these individual units of brick or clay or masonry could look like and what they could be and what they could do. So those entries were more inspiring personally. I have a love for material, not necessarily a love for architecture, but some of the entries sort of made me fall in love with architecture because of how they used material. And in particular, I think the sort of brick cathedral, the vaulted dark cathedral space that was part of one of the building entries was really intriguing and inspiring, and I think evocative of a lot of good emotions.
I'm very interested in the values of looking at brick and looking at any material as a sustainable contribution to architecture in the future. And this particular competition, being a juror on this competition, gave me the opportunity to see the amount of creativity and innovation from around the world and begin to look at where the opportunities are for sustainability relative to materials.
I was more interested and felt the innovations in technology category, the parts of buildings were the most interesting, and mostly because they reached out from the conventions of brick and considered additional roles, like being an active living environment, to have scales and layers to help mediate, to build and bring a kind of complexity to masonry construction that it isn't normally thought of as having. And I think that is a huge frontier that is got a lot of potential. I also think this mixture of ingredients that go into clay-based brickwork is a huge potential, that how it is, I'm thinking of it more like cooking or baking bread, that what other ingredients can you put in it that make it more high performance, more visually interesting. It seems there's a lot more potential there.
It might have too much brick, almost. No.
There's no such thing.
You promised you wouldn't say it.
You had to step in.
Let's, this feels like a keeper. Let's keep it. And
Yeah.
let's keep going. We'll come back to it.
What I really liked about this is the variability, all the different ways they've been using bricks in the retaining walls with this system.
Well, I mean, the problem with a brick bench, by the way, is it's really cold to sit on.
Sure.
Maybe that's a heater.
Yeah, I think
And I
this
wrote
one,
down what
this
you
one,
also said.
this one is a stronger use of
Wallpaper
brick
brick.
in number
This one,
two.
Yeah.
So how brick is it? Is it carbon neutral? Is it a compelling place to be? And what resolution of detail? Okay.
So somehow by looking at all the threads that were put on boards from all over the world, we were able to, for both the building technology or the brick technology competition and the architecture competition, to set up 4 major goals different for the two different sub-competitions. Once we had set the 4 down, we went back and then winnowed down the ones that had met the most of those 4 goals and fought our way through the very last set of boards.
Working with building blocks like this that you can reuse and reassemble in different shapes and usage on different sites is something we should seriously consider in the future.
I do think that there was a lot of work that went into the pattern making to create the innovative brick wall on the left. And the one on the right is clearly innovative in performative and biodiverse implications, etc. They both have, I think, a little bit of a flaw in them, but they're clearly pushing brick as a constructed system out where you want it to begin to move.
Our two first
Get
choices did not do any testing.
Testing, right.
They're all virtual models.
And we're allowed to split the award, right? The 10K?
Oh, if there's a first award,
Can there be two firsts?
or can there be 3/3?
And I think the challenge for us was picking one winner. As you can see by the selection of 6 honorable mentions, we felt strongly that each of the honorable mentions had achieved some level of brilliance in 2 of the categories, or maybe even 3 of the categories, but that the other ones had achieved brilliance in other categories, and we really could not feel that any one had hit all 4.